For the final event in the welcoming ceremonies, several children mounted the stage. And now, in honor of our hero, the children will present to the general a floral wreath, more marvelous than the greatest medal there ever was. The audience went wild again. When the children put the wreath on his neck, the general favored them with a warm smile, the first honest smile from the heart that he had managed since climbing onto the stage. And finally, as a special treat for the general, who has been galloping from one battlefield to the next from his native place, the children's chosen representative will read his own original composition, spelling out the joys of the peaceful life of the village. With a look of grim intensity, a small boy, barely old enough to go to school, unfolded his composition, and gripping it in two hands, began to read aloud from it, straining to make himself heard. First, I'm going to write about one of the nicest things that happened to me. At my house, we have a pasture with lots of cows and sheep. One cow had a baby 2 days ago. I helped my daddy by stroking the cow's back with a handful of straw while she was having the baby. That makes the cow warm up so it's easier for her to give birth. The baby was born just before the sun came up. It was a tiny baby, but it could already stand on its own legs. Yeah, baby. Wow. I'm going to take care of this baby until he gets big. Dear little calf, hurry and grow up, okay? And now I'm going to write about the saddest thing that happened to me. That was when my grandma got sick and died. She was such a nice grandma. I know her sickness made her feel bad, but she was always smiling when she died. I watched her face the whole time because I knew I wouldn't be able to see her anymore, and I wanted to remember her even after I grow up. She just kept smiling and smiling for me right to the very end. That's why she is always smiling when I think of her. Are you looking down from the sky, Grandma? I will never forget you as long as I live. Tears were streaming down the general's face. When the ceremony ended, the general left his village and headed for the town where the army headquarters were located. There, he wrote a long letter to the king, and he gave the sword to his most trusted lieutenant. The general had decided to retire. This was a big surprise to me, as it was to anybody. But when I heard that little boy's essay, it occurred to me, what makes us really human is to celebrate each life that comes into this world and mourn each life that is lost. I didn't need medals anymore. I didn't need the honor of being allowed into the presence of His Majesty anymore. I wanted to be a real human being again. And as a result, overnight I went from being the village hero to being reviled as a traitor. The general turns to face Khan and asks, "So, are you going to mock me as a coward who ran away from the battlefield, or blame me for being a deserter who betrayed his own patriotism?" Kime turns a gentle smile to the old man. Neither. As a soldier, you made the wrong decision. But as a human being, you made the right one. The general strokes his white beard and says, My habit has changed too. Nowadays, I find myself stroking my beard when I'm embarrassed." The two men look at each other and smile. "Okay, back to work," says the general standing with a grunt. He calls out to his troops, "All right, men, it's all downhill from here. Let's give it one last push and get back to the village before sunset." The troops under the general's command consist of 30 sheep. Tell me, Kime, are you planning to go back into battle at some point? I don't really know, he replies. I'm content with herding sheep for now, the general says. I don't have the least regret for the decision I made that day. It would make me happy to think that this could be a kind of lesson for you." With this parting remark, the general turns away from Kym and begins walking. The sheep amble along after him in newly reformed ranks. Standing at attention, the general raises his right arm and waves on his troops. "Forward, march!" The command he had once delivered to tens of thousands of men into battle now echoes pleasantly along the mountainsides of his native village.